Hello everyone and welcome back to the seventh part of this course. In this video we're going to learn about how to do functions, how to create functions, how to make our functions return a value, and do some extension functions. The way we can create a function in Kotlin is by using a keyword fun followed by the name of the function. Let's say print me and a parentheses, and let's give it as a body. So we want our print me function to print two print lines. So the way we do that is try the print line here and double that. Use a control plus D, and let's say hey. The second print line would be programmer. So our function here prints prints hey, then the second line will be programmer. So the way we can call our print me function into our main is by it's pretty much simple. Let me delete that. Let's write print me and parentheses. So when we run this, and we got hey programmer. So that's how you create a function and call it into our main. So if we want to make our function returns a value, the way we can do that is, let me create a function that returns the sum of the elements of an array. So let me create an array here, var r, say var r, and let's set it to array of, and let's give it elements with 1, 2, and 3, and create a function here. Let's say sum of, let's name it sum of, and the parentheses. So the thing is that the way you can, so now if you want to access our array into our function, the way we can do that is by using a parameter. So the way we can create a parameter in our function in Kotlin is by writing the desired name of our parameter. So let's say our array would be that, and it is important to define the type of our parameter by using colon. And if it is an array, then we write just array here. And as you can see here, we have an error, so we have to specify the type of our array. Since this is number, so we create an int here. Then let's create this as a body, and the way we can create a body is by using curly brackets. And let's create a var here which hold the result is equal to 0, and let's write a for loop here for a in array. Then we simply just add a from result. So the way we can return a value to our sum of, we want to return our result is by using return keyword and the variable is result. So Kotlin says type mismatch, required unit, and it found int. So result is an int. So unit basically means is that this function here doesn't need to return anything, so it returns nothing. But the thing is, we want to return our result, which is an int. And the way we can get rid of that is by specifying the type of value that our sum of returns. So since the result is an int, then we define this as, we write an int. As you can see here, we don't have any errors now, and because we specify the return type of our sum of. So let me print the sum of our array, which is here. So let me print that. So let's say print line and write sum of. Write the function sum of, and let's pass the array to the sum of by writing r inside the parentheses of our sum of. And let's run that. As you can see here, we have hey programmer in 6. So this hey programmer still exists because we actually called print me here first. Then after that we called sum of the summation of our array, which results to 6. And that's 6 because 1 plus 2 is 3 and 3 plus 3 is 6. So that's how you create a function with parameters and a function that returns a value. So there's also another way that we can create a function by using a one line. Let's try to create a function that adds the two parameters. So let's say a, which is an int, and b, which is an int2. And here we can actually use equal sign and just add a plus b. So now here we actually created a function here that adds the two parameters and returns the value of it. And as you can see, we don't need to specify, just like we did before here. So we don't need to specify the data type that our add function that it's going to return, because Kotlin already knows the result type of our add function by using an equal sign here. So that's how you create a one-line function, and the way we can use that, so let's try to use that function. Let's try to print, let's say add, and let's say 4, then 3. So 4 plus 3 would be 7, and if we run this, we should get 7. And as you can see here, we got 7. So that's how you create a one-line function by using equal sign. It's a pretty cool thing though, and it's pretty useful feature in Kotlin. In this part, we're going to talk about extension functions, and this is pretty unique feature in Kotlin. To start with that, let me print a line. So basically I want to make the user input a number. So the way to do that is please input a number, and we need to save that number into our vol num. So, and convert it to an integer. Then we need to check if that number is not equal to null. Okay, so we can deal with that. Now, if we write num here and dot, IntelliJ actually show us all the functions that we can apply to that integer. And in Kotlin, we can actually extend those functions. So we can extend, for example, functions to that type integer, and those functions are called extension functions. And to do that is, let's go outside from our main, write fun, and specify the type that we want to extend, which is in our case int, and write dot there. And now we're going to write the name of the function that we want, which is in our case I want to check if a number is a prime or not. So I'm going to name this is prime, and we don't need parameters for that, but this will return a boolean. So normally when we have a function that checks the prime number of a number, then we need to access the num here, and the way we can do that is by adding a parameter here. So let's add a parameter which is num with a type integer, and now we can actually access the num into our function. But in extension functions, we don't need that. We don't need to specify that. And when we write num here in a dot, so what we did is that we extended a type integer with the isPrime function. So we can possibly call isPrime to our num because num is an integer. So now this functions here does nothing because we didn't actually write anything inside it. So I'm just gonna delete that. So as you know, a prime number is divisible by 1 or by itself. So what we should do is we need to check for every number that is between 2 to the number minus 1 if it is divisible to our number. So let's use a for loop there, and I in 2 until to the numbers. So we need to access our number in our function somehow. So in extension functions, the way we can do that is by using a this keyword. So this keyword holds the value of the integer that we call the is prime on. And now our goal is to deduct it by 1. And we have to check if it is divisible by the I. So the way we can do that is by modulo. So let's write this modulo by I equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, we're going to return false. So if none of them are divisible by the number, so it is a prime number, so we're going to return true. If num is prime, then I'm going to print. Then let's add a print line where it says the number, which is the num, is prime. Else, if it is not prime, then we're going to print 2, the number num is not prime. So the condition of our if statement, what it does is that it checks if our number is prime. So let's run our program. So now let's input 7, and we got the number 7 is prime, which is true. But if we input 4, then the number is 4 is not prime because it is divisible by the following numbers here. So that's how extension function works, and that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Take care.